All right, here we are, 39-week pregnancy update, and honestly, I did not think that we were going to make it to this point. I definitely thought that I was going to have had my baby by now, but it seems that God has a different plan for me than I had for myself. So, I am learning to be patient, and it has been a really hard week. And to be very honest, this update it might be a little more emotional than usual, just because I didn't think that I would be doing a 39-week pregnancy update, and just everything that has happened from 38 weeks to 39 weeks. It's been very emotionally, physically, mentally draining, and difficult. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so first we're going to start off with baby stats. At 39 weeks pregnant, baby is about the size of a small pumpkin, which feels about accurate. I feel huge. So size of a small pumpkin sounds about right. And she's probably between 19 and 21 inches long, and then weighs probably between 7 and 8 pounds. And I had my 39-week appointment today, and my midwife checked, and she is head down. Baby is head down, but she is sunny side up, meaning her head is facing outward, like how I'm facing, and the best birth position is for her to be turned facing towards my back. So I need to get her turned around, and the midwife told me to do a lot of cat-cow stretches, and to lean forward a lot, do a lot of time on like my hands and knees, and to avoid reclining, to try to get baby to turn so she's not sunny side up. We want her face to be turned towards my back. Otherwise, when she's facing my front, her spine is against my spine. So if I go into labor like that, then I'm going to have very painful back labor because her spine will be pushing against mine. And that is not comfortable at all. Now, as far as my weight gain, at the beginning of my pregnancy, I was about 105, 108, between there, 105 to 108 pounds, and I am 128 pounds now, which is actually the same as last week at my 38-week update. So, baby is still growing, so that's good. So I'm not sure why my weight hasn't really changed, but that is where I'm at. Stretch marks. Do I have any new stretch marks this week? Not that I've noticed. I didn't have any stretch marks really until about 38 weeks last week, and I haven't really noticed any other ones. But I wouldn't be surprised if she keeps cooking if I get some new stretch marks. Next question, how am I feeling this week? I have had a lot of sciatic nerve pain this week. It has greatly and significantly increased since my 38-week update. And basically it shoots this like searing pain into my butt and my inner thighs, and it is extremely painful, and it makes me fall over. Well, not all the way over to the ground, but just like hunched over, like in pain, really uncomfortable. And so something that helps with that, if you are struggling with that too in your pregnancy, is you can do cat-cow stretches. That seems to alleviate a lot of pregnancy discomfort, is cat-cow stretching. Or if I just like lean forward a little bit, that gets baby's weight off of that sciatic nerve and helps relieve that pain. Okay, and I just have to include this. My sweet, sweet husband just got home and he brought home some batteries so that our little baby bouncer works.
Yeah, it works.
Aww. Yay! It didn't have batteries and now it does. So now baby can come now, right? Alright, back to how I've been feeling. I've also been feeling a lot of Braxton Hicks contractions throughout this last week. They are just random, sporadic throughout the day. There's no rhyme or reason to them. Some of them are pretty mild and some are a little more intense with the squeezing and tightness. It's a completely new feeling for me because with my previous pregnancies, I never felt Braxton Hicks contractions, like, ever. Not that I remember. And it was just like, as soon as I felt a contraction of any kind, that meant that baby was coming, like, that day. The contractions would start, they would progress, and boom, 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 I had a baby that day. So this fourth pregnancy has been completely different than my first three. My energy overall has been pretty good. Like, I feel very productive throughout the day. I have a few times during the day where I get tired, usually kind of after lunchtime, and in the evenings, like right before dinner time, I get pretty tired. But overall, I feel really good, and I think a lot of that has to do with I've been trying to get to bed a little bit earlier than I have been, and waking up early, doing some exercise and some pregnancy meditation kind of stuff has been really helpful for keeping my energy up and has been very helpful for keeping a positive mindset with just everything that I have been experiencing this past week. Okay, something that I have been experiencing this past week that I've never experienced before, and this has been the most difficult part of this pregnancy, is I have had 2 experiences with prodromal labor. And if you haven't heard of that before, because I had never really heard of it before, it basically feels like you're starting labor, like you have regular consistent contractions that are, you know, spaced a certain amount apart, and they get closer and closer together. They get more intense as if you are in labor, and then they just stop. And that happened to me on Saturday, a couple of days ago, on Saturday the 5th. And that night I thought that was it. I thought that was the day, and thought I was in labor. It felt like things were progressing, and then it stopped. And I was up for hours. Like, it lasted for hours. And so when nothing came of that, it was extremely disappointing. And, like, because it was super late at night when it started, and then eventually I fell asleep, and I woke up in the morning and I was like, what just happened? I had timed my contractions. They were 2 to 3 minutes apart, getting really intense. Like, I was really having to breathe through them, and you know, it just felt like things were happening, but it was just a false alarm. And that was very difficult because I got my hopes up, because that was the second time that had happened. And I got my hopes up that we were going to be meeting our baby girl that night, or I guess that morning, because it was past midnight. And so that was very difficult, and that has been extremely draining, physically and emotionally. So I didn't even know that was possible to experience that. So I've felt kind of down, kind of not depressed, but just like sad and anxious and disappointed, and just really confused. It's extremely confusing when I feel like my body is getting ready to have a baby and then nothing comes of it. It is the strangest feeling, and I know I shouldn't be like too upset that the baby hasn't come yet, because I'm not even technically at my due date. I'm due this Friday, the 11th. But all of my babies before have come a little bit early, so that's kind of what I've been expecting with this one. But she just might be the one who comes a little bit later. And so I'm just trying to think positively, and rather than looking forward to the future, just trying to be present and enjoy right now what is going on, enjoy feeling her moving inside of me. And I've been doing some pregnancy meditation in the morning that has been just really nice and relaxing, and has just helped me enjoy these last few days of pregnancy. Anyways, that's kind of how I've been feeling and things that I've been going through this past week. Now, as far as sleeping, how have I been sleeping? Pretty good. For the most part, I sleep really well. I hardly even ever wake up to go pee during the night, which is kind of unusual. I remember with previous pregnancies, I would wake up to go pee quite often, it felt like. So with this one, I sleep through the night and it's great. Sometimes I just need some extra pillows for some support, but overall I sleep really well, and that is a huge blessing. And a new update that I'm adding this week is my dilation and effacement. So at my appointment today, they checked for dilation and effacement, and I was 1 centimeter dilated and 50% effaced. So, I mean, that is good. That's better than nothing. Labor can start suddenly and go very quickly. Dilation can occur very quickly, and so you just never know. All right, baby's movement. She is still a little wiggle worm, and I love it. That is something that I'm definitely going to miss when she decides to finally come. She responds to my touch, and I'll just like massage her and say hi to her and talk to her. But yeah, her movements are really good. And as far as food aversions or cravings this week, nothing really. I've been kind of turned off to meat recently. I don't know why. Any kind of meat, chicken, beef, anything really just doesn't taste good or sound good or smell very good to me right now. I can always go for a bowl of cereal, or some fruit is awesome, or a granola bar, or like a bowl of oatmeal. I could eat oatmeal all day. It always just fills me up. Feels me up. It always fills me up and just gives me a lot of good energy. So I like my oatmeal, and I can also always go for some dark chocolate or ice cream. What labor signs have I been experiencing this week? Just kind of what I was talking about before, the Braxton Hicks, the Prodromal Labor. I haven't lost my mucus plug or had any bloody show yet. How has my mood been this week? Honestly, like I said earlier, I've been kind of moody, kind of irritable and depressed and anxious and sad, just with all my excitement and the false labor and just all these expectations that I had that weren't quite fulfilled the way that I thought they were going to be. And so it's been a hard week emotionally, but I am working on that. I'm turning it around. I'm trying to stay positive and choose to be happy and enjoy the stage that I'm at. And as far as embarrassing or TMI pregnancy symptoms this week, nothing really that I can think of except the prodromal false labor. That is extremely embarrassing because both of the times that it happened, I let my mom know, let my mother-in-law know, and because I thought that it was it, and then it wasn't, and so it's very discouraging and embarrassing to be like, hey, I think the baby's coming, and then the baby doesn't come. And here is my 39 weeks pregnant belly shot. And that is it for my 39-week pregnancy update. Thank you so much for watching and for listening to me and everything that I've been experiencing this week. And let me know in the comments if you can relate to any of this, especially if you've experienced false labor. Let me know what your experience has been. And be sure to subscribe to stay updated on this pregnancy and newborn updates and all of that fun stuff. I also do cleaning and organization and mom vlogs and that kind of thing. But I've been focused a lot on baby recently. So anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.